Hi,
And
welcome back. Hi, welcome back to How's It Feel Though with Abacus. Are you there? Yeah, we're a little bit wonky right now, but this is the Abacus and Macky
it's a little grainy.
How's It Feel Though podcast.
Hola.
Okay, I think things are starting to happen now.
Yeah, I think it's doing okay.
Wow.
It's starting to clear up.
Okay, yeah.
Hello, world.
So, hello. How's it feel?
How does it feel? How does it not feel? Maybe that's the better question. I feel like all the feelings are happening these days, and that is so Pisces. And we're not even in Pisces.
Well,
Or we are
Pisces.
in certain ways. I think that you can go into that in a better way than
It's the big. There's a stellium in Pisces for most of this month, and anybody who's got 25 to 30 degree Pisces is going to be affected by it. We got Mercury retrograde turning direct today. Got Venus retrograde. We have Saturn, and we have the moon's nodes all there. And Neptune just moved into Aries, one of the big shifts of the year and of this decade. So yeah, things are changing, and I certainly have been feeling it, and I'm feeling like hopefully things are getting better. They feel like they are. It's been affecting me emotionally and physically, and I think I'm on the upswing again, and I hope that everyone else is too.
Okay. If I may, can you talk about why you think it's affecting you physically and emotionally? You and I talked a little bit before we started, and I do think that we should never talk before the cameras are rolling, because it's always be good shit. But can you tell us again why you think it's like that for you?
We're talking about the moon's nodes, and the moon's nodes progress in reverse, and how both of us have our moon's nodes on the Aries Libra line, on the Aries Libra opposition, basically. And they just moved into the Pisces Virgo, and it moved from where my north node is in Libra and my south node is in Aries. And the north node was just in Aries and the south node's in Libra. And now the north node moved into Pisces and the south node moved into Virgo. And so it affected both of us in a reverse way for me, and in a return way for you. And it's all this planetary stellium and these moon's nodes are moving over my natal moon. So I have been feeling it. And you know, the moon is all about feelings, and I've been feeling it pretty heavily.
Yeah.
And at first it was more emotional for me in September, and then it became more physical in January, where I was having some issues with my back, and
you're getting ready to test your mind. Like it's that much in your body.
Yeah, but I thought I had it. I hope I don't. At this point, I don't think I do. But you know, it takes a lot for me to go to the doctor. So, but luckily, I have really good friends that are chiropractors, and they can usually fix me before I go into any kind of pharmaceutical type therapy.
Right. So
but I think I'm okay, and I think I'm getting better, but definitely had some of the symptoms of Lyme. And I had a bad wreck on my bike too. So
yeah. So literally affecting your body.
Yeah. So it was emotional and physical. And of course, I'm hoping it's planetary and that it's passing.
Yeah. So I don't think that we have any set callers as of yet. Someone might surprise us. There is a live link, a live reach out for folks if they happen to be up. We're kind of changing up our schedule, move to PM hours. And I like it, you know.
Yeah,
It
me
feels
too.
like we're hanging out in a coffee shop. It feels very chill because we're not having to block out an entire work day for something we really like. So that just makes me feel a lot more relaxed. So I'm really digging it so far. But since we don't have anyone on the register, I'm proposing that we take a little peek into our own charts because we are wrapping up some serious experiences with Aries when it comes to our nodes. And like you said before, they are on opposite spectrums. And I feel like that's kind of doctor speak for a lot of people. Like maybe they've never even heard of the nodes. So I'm going to pull up both of our charts and maybe we can look at them and talk to people a little bit about what we're talking about with images. What do you think?
Sure. Sounds like a great idea.
All right, so I'm going to go to screen sharing now. Meow. Entire screen. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, so this is the chart of Macky. Macky, you're going to have no secrets. What do you think about that?
I know I'm going to be exposed to the world here. It's going to be kind of scary.
At least we didn't let AI join the chat, so you're safe in that. Okay, but check this out. Here we have Macky's chart. And when we're talking about the North and South node, whenever you pull up your own chart, viewers on Earth, you're going to look for this little horseshoe shape right here. And that is your North node. And then wherever that is, oh no, wait, I'm sorry. It's too far away.
Yeah, I don't think your pointer came out.
Leo. No, that's Leo. It looks like a horseshoe from here. Let's find Aries.
My North node is right up at the top there.
Yeah. Okay, so here it is, a much smaller horseshoe. Oh my God, am I losing my eyes, Macky? Are they going? Anyway.
Well, I don't see your pointer there, but anyways.
You don't see the pointer on the screen?
No, and at the top of the circle there is where the North node is. It looks like a little horseshoe.
Yep. Okay,
so right there above the 8 degrees of Libra.
Yep, little baby horseshoe.
And then down at the bottom, near the moon, there is the upside down horseshoe, which is the South node. And in my case, it's conjunct Eris, which is an interesting planet that nobody knows about.
Yeah, but don't get into that yet. We'll do a whole show on that. So what you were experiencing is what they call a nodal reverse return or a reversal. And that is where the North node, which is what's happening whenever we have our eclipses, each time there are eclipses, it happens in seasons of signs, okay? And so they are governed, or rather not governed, but they're characterized by the zodiac signs, right? And and because it's North and South node, it's going to be opposite signs, okay, that these eclipses are pinging off of. This is just kind of like astrology 101. And so we're coming out of a season which is a year 0.5 approximately. That's how long it is in each of these signs. And it goes click, click, click for 2 different opposite signs every year and a half. So when we're experiencing these, what they call eclipse season, you want to know what's going on in your chart that has to do with what the eclipses are pinging in, okay? And so if it happens to be, and so the eclipses are happening in the North and South node. It's the same thing. So the North and South node, and correct me if I'm saying this wrong, Macky, it isn't a geological point. It's not a physical object, but rather a spatial object. It's like if the moon had a north and south pole where it was rotating around the world, the orbit for that. That's what we're looking at when we're looking at nodes, right?
Well, what it is where the moon's path crosses the sun's path, which is called the
Okay.
ecliptic. And the
Yes.
sun traces a line through the sky every year. It's the same every year. And the moon
Yes.
over 18 years goes through its own cycle. And that's the points where they cross. And that's why there's an eclipse. Whenever the moon and the sun meet at that point, they're lined up, and everyone knows what an eclipse is. And, you know, the
Right.
eclipse is where the sun, the moon, and the earth all line up, regardless of whether it's a new or a full moon. So
Right.
those are the points. And also, if people are looking at my chart, the little green symbols on the outside is where all the planets are right now. And also you can see the south node at the very top of the circle is where the south node is now. The inner circle with the black is where everything was when I was born. So the little green symbols, you can see the south node is at the very top, and down at the bottom, the north node, Saturn, Mercury, and Venus and Neptune are all clustered together there at the end of Pisces and the beginning of Aries.
Right.
So that's
So,
the explanation of that chart. The inner circle is the natal, or the when I was born, and the outer circle is actually right now,
right. Thank you.
where all the planets are right now.
So back to the notes. Whenever we're going through eclipse season, everyone's talking about it. Like, pay attention to where these houses, which houses this is filling up for you. Let's say if you had Aries in the first house, that means you're an Aries rising. This stuff would really be pinging on your identity, right? Or the way that you, or what you present to the world, whether you identify with it or not, right? It's the self is the first house. So understanding, if you're into the stars, that eclipses can have a really powerful effect in like the way of a portal, right? So like big endings, big beginnings. And if you know where it's happening in your chart, you can kind of play with that energy, and you can allow yourself to welcome in the new things and usher out the old things. And so that could be, it can have a really, a really beautiful, intense effect on you personally if you have like heavy placements with what sign it's in, right? What sign the eclipses are in. And if you're like Macky and your actual birth chart has the same nodes as what's happening in the sky in this very moment, it's called a return. And it's really, really intense. For him, it's the opposite effect, though, because they're in opposite spaces. You see that in his birth chart, he has the north node in Libra and the south node in Aries. And we just wrapped up with these last eclipses, a year and a half of eclipses that were themed in Aries in the north node and Libra in the south, meaning things are beginning with Aries because it's in the north node, because that's the start of things. South node is about what you're letting go. Okay. And so because his are opposite, wild ride. And he could describe it better because it's his experience. But from what I've read, it can feel like kind of things are getting stood on its head because you have them overlaying one another. They say that your south node's your karma. So you've got the past and the future just kind of meshing worlds. So you may be into things and trying to start projects or excited about a thing just to maybe watch it just vanish. But it's about the effort, right? Because it's showing you who you are. It's showing you what your desires are. There are a bunch of lessons being revealed from what I understand.
Yeah, it probably has been a wild ride. The astrology that I study, the evolutionary astrology, it pretty much says that your south node represents maybe your past life or things that you need to get rid of in your life. And the north node signifies things you're striving for to try to evolve. So that's one way of looking at the nodes. And, my south node in Aries, I think for me, I think maybe I was, a past life more of a warrior, and I need to strive more into being an artist or something. I think that's pretty generalized, simplistic, what I've studied. Even though I do like, I do like martial type things, sports and activities and stuff like that.
Marshall.
But Mars rules Aries, Venus rules Libra. I do have a Mars conjunction, so that kind of makes things interesting.
Right. So that whole past year and a half that we have had eclipses pinging in Aries and Libra has been intense for you because it's been a reverse return. It's been intense for me because it's been a nodal return that is identical to my own. I'm going to pull up my astrology map now. And let's see. And we'll take a peek at it. Let's stop that and start here. Bear with me. Okay. Entire screen and share. All right. Oh no, I did the wrong thing.
Wow, that's infinity.
No,
Awesome.
it is infinity. I did the wrong thing. Okay, hold on. I'm still learning. Okay. So what we need is this guy. Oh my God. Maybe we don't pull it up. We're having technical difficulties. But I will tell you, if I cannot pull my chart up, that what it is like to have a return in my situation, because I was born with my North Node being in Aries, right, which is what the eclipses were pinging off of in that order. It's been a North Node in Aries for everybody, but because it was my birth one, it feels like you are, it is not comfortable. It's not comfortable. Here we go. Because what's happening is you're being called to step into what I believe is the vehicle that helps you get through a lot of bullshit and roadblocks by presenting as what your North Node is. And that's my take on it, Macky. Because whatever your North Node is, I think that because it's what you want to lean into instead of your karma, which is the South Node, which is, I think, what you did in your past life. Because it's the North Node, I think it's a little unfamiliar to you. Your South Node is what you have natural talents in. It's your gifts. It's your safe zone. And because my Aries is a North Node, it means my South Node is the opposite, which is Libra, and it wants to put others first. It cares about the harmony, so it will be self-sacrificial. It can be codependent. It cares a lot about partnership. And so having a return calls a person like me to release tendencies to put others first and pushes a person to start, I don't know, elbowing their way to the front of the room saying, I've got a dream, I've got a desire, I've got a wish, and kind of start making it really important to themselves. And so the past year and a half, I feel like I've grown a lot in my business, in a way that normally I think would have felt pretty selfish to me, you know, because I've always it's been my natural inkling to like lift other people up. And so my business is doing well because I knew what was happening in my stars. And I was able to lean into this energy and move with it, and just allow myself to shine more, because that's what Aries likes to do. You know, it's the youngest in the birth, in the zodiac chart. You know, it's all me, 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 me. And I wish to God we had an Aries sun sign on here, because that would confirm it every time they opened their mouth. No offense. I love me some Aries energy, but it's intense. You know, it's kind of ball buster energy. I know you guys know that's true. But here's my chart. If you want to take a little peek, we have got you see my north node up there at the top. And it's interesting too, because I feel, Macky, like you and I both have a similar region where our north and south node are pinging, you know, both in the upper sphere. So you've got my north node up here in the ninth house, which the ninth house rules. We can also talk about this a little bit too, but the ninth house rules.
Ninth and third, both of us the same. North node ninth, south node third.
Wild.
Just opposite signs, that's all.
It's so cool.
And
So,
you know, mine's telling me to compromise more, and yours is telling you to focus on yourself more.
yeah.
You
And
know?
neither one of those feels good, in my opinion, in my personal experience. None of it feels comfortable, but it could be essential. That's the thing. So if you look at the chart, ninth house is about higher learning. It could be about religion, spirituality. Some say it's the house of astrology. Others debate that.
True. Yes.
But it's a cool spot, in my opinion, to have your north node in, because it's also about travel, right? And it's got a universal point of view. And I kind of like that. And so my south node, you can see, is down in the third house, which is about your local neighborhood, kind of releasing, you know, attachment to that, which I have also felt.
Local
It's about
travel. Yeah.
local. It's sibling vibes, sibling energy. It's communication, connection, networking. Gemini vibes too, right? Because doesn't Gemini typically rule the third house? But yeah, there you have it. The nodes in what we have been experiencing for the past year 0.5 approximately. And now we're in a new phase. We are stepping into the Pisces Virgo axis. The eclipses from here on out are going to be featuring those. And so I would be curious about where that's showing up in y'all's chart as well. What does Pisces mean to you? What does Virgo mean to you? Look more into it than just your sun sign. There's so much more going on. And the same thing with Aries. Like, it doesn't have to be just your sun sign or your moon sign. Is it ruling your Venus? Like, once you see what Aries and Libra rule in your chart, you can look over the past year and a half, which is what the ecliptic timeline was, and just start to notice what has shifted. Have there been any new things start up and it's in these houses? Have there been any big things end? Have there been any ruptures, any changes? And get into it. Get nerdy. That's my take. Because it's great therapy, bitches. It's free therapy. I love it. I had a really amazing therapist one time. She was like 55 years old. They identified as non-binary. And, you know, I just came home from New York and I was going through all this stuff. It was Scorpio was in the eclipses at the time. So I was going through it. And she's like, look, you got all the pain and it's all real. And you have a license to go ahead and feel that intensely because it's all valid. You can for the rest of your life. However, she said, I have seen your stars and I'll be a little disappointed if you didn't move through it fast, because there are a lot of lessons that you were kind of intentional about having in this experience, and you've got a lot to do still. So you better get moving. So looking into your stars deeply, I think, has the potential to offer a person a fuckload of healing and closure and support, because there's just understanding that comes with it. It's a fucking map. It literally brings direction and guidance, and that's why I'm always going to be head over heels. Okay,
Yeah,
but Eric.
that's wonderful. That's an awesome explanation.
Cool. Okay, we got 30 minutes. What else, Aries? What else do you have going on in Aries? You got anything else in Aries? I'm sorry, I should know this by now.
No, I mean, I have my nodes are conjunct Eris, which is an interesting planet.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's take a guess then, since we don't have any people talking about it. Let's take a guess at what it might be like to have Aries placements.
Take a guess.
Yeah, let's
Well,
take a guess at how it might feel.
well, I'd say
Because
in
you
general,
probably know Aries sun and moon people and rising people, as do I.
well, I definitely know some Aries Sun people, and I probably should have looked up
Okay.
in my database all the rising and moon people, but I didn't, so I don't have much to go on there. But the Aries Sun people can be very impulsive and can be very can have a temper.
Mm-hmm. You're talking about Aries
Um,
sun, right?
yeah,
Matt Shockley vibes.
and
Yeah.
I've seen that with certain people who I won't name, but not, and I'm not talking about the same person either.
Right.
But yeah, I've seen Aries people who you thought were just the chillest people in the world, and then they did something crazy. So the Martian influence in Aries is
Yeah.
pretty big.
Yeah.
And again, yeah, just one of the most mellow, chill people you'd ever meet, and then you hear what they did
Yeah.
in a rage. You know that they just went off. So there's that.
Yeah.
I'm sure Aries Moon can be similar to that.
Yeah.
It's Aries is ruled by Mars. It's
Yeah.
Aries is the first sign after the spring equinox. Everything's going. I mean, I'm sure everyone's felt it in the last week or so, where there's actually, even though it's freaking cold right now where we are, there's
Yeah.
there are trees budding out, and the birds are chirping, and things are starting to go, and there's just this energized feeling in the air, and it's it's a great time of the year where everything's getting energized. I mean, I feel it myself. I think I'm feeling energized, by just everything around right now. So
sorry.
no, you go right ahead.
Okay, well, I really love this. I love the color that you're bringing to this description, because literally the Aries people who I know and love, they are so hot-blooded. Like Aries moon people, my mother's an Aries moon, and a couple of other people. But there's this really powerful, in my opinion, role that they naturally take on for leadership. They can assume responsibility for the lead like nobody else I've ever seen. And because it's in their moon, they can go from 0 to 60 on the emotion scale. And then also in their body. Like I think that it's probably fair to say that if they don't already struggle with high blood pressure because they're young, it might be an issue growing older. Just because the level of intensity inside. And the moon governs the body, it governs the emotions. So super intense. And then for Aries rising people, I think it's just basically big dick energy. You know, I know a lot of Aries rising people, and I think that they might feel confused about it, and naturally so, because whenever you have an Aries rising, there's not a lot to pull from. Or it might feel that way because it's the natural start of the zodiac sign, you know? There's not a lot of overlay. So you're like, nothing's different. There's no cool new trait now that I know that, like when you do the contrast of the whole wheel. But in my opinion, what happens for those individuals is they have like a double dose of every sign. And that's why I say big dick energy. It's just every sign is super intense.
Well, to me, it's more like the word headstrong. Aries does rule the head, and I think that's
Rebecca Wadarsky is an Aries rising. Now, if she doesn't have big dick energy, I don't know who does.
Well,
you've played poker with Rebecca. You know I'm right.
Yeah, her poker name is Big Stack, so that fits.
No, it doesn't. Are you kidding me? Are you making jokes?
No, I'm serious. Oh, did your mic just turn off? I can't hear you anymore. Hey, I think your mic, you just got lost.
Are you back? I think we're back.
I can hear you now.
We're back.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Sorry.
All right, so we're
talking about line for a minute there in your consternation.
It's still struggling
about big stacks.
Got it. Yeah, so super intense energy. So much so that okay.
You're fading it out a little bit.
Clearly the energy is so intense that it's breaking the internet. I'm happy to be here.
So she's Aries rising, correct? Since we're talking about people that we know.
We're dropping names. We are. She's an Aries rising. I'm pretty sure Seth Pitt is an Aries rising. Poor Adam Chase. Sun, Aries, and Moon. Or Sun, Rising, and Moon. All Aries. Not poor. He's literally walking flames.
No, incredible athlete.
Incredible. Not poor. I'm just all water, so I can't imagine it.
Yeah. So that's very interesting. Yes, that we're bringing up people's names, but yeah, and all those people, I have great respect for everyone we've mentioned. Pretty much.
Absolutely. I don't think that I would ever. I'm not into using this podcast.
And really, they're all three of those are humble people. They're not like in your face, so they may not be the typical, what we're talking about, but they all have great artistic and athletic
100%.
qualities. So I think they're,
100%.
Yeah.
And so Rebecca, much like yourself, Rebecca, I hope your ears are burning. Rebecca, much like you, Macky, has a lot of Pisces, Aries, layover because she is a Pisces sun and you've got that Pisces moon. So with everything being so Aries and Pisces right now, I mean, I feel for you. That's why I was like, Macky, answer my fucking texts. Are you okay? Are you alive?
Yes, it's been touch and go for the last week or two.
I imagine so.
So, but yeah, I mean, I knew this was all coming. It's no surprise. I mean, it's just been nuts. And we've just got over the Mercury retrograde. So now things are starting to turn around. If everyone's been in a really confusing state. I know I had some issues with my car. I luckily figured those out. But I've also heard of other people having issues with mechanical and electronic things the last couple of weeks. So, of course,
Yeah.
Mercury retrograde is really good at doing that. And
Right.
it might be affecting us right now because this thing just
Totally.
freezes up constantly. And
And it's never done this.
Mercury is at a dead stop right now, and that's usually when the worst
Wow.
things happen. So we're probably giving a good example of Mercury stationary right now.
Oh my
with all these,
God. I know. It's never been like
that are
this.
happening.
Yeah. It's never been like this, so it's certainly
Mhm.
interesting. Oh, but you know what though? In April, don't all the planets go direct? Like all of them.
Yeah, eventually we will have a little period of everything direct, and then I think Pluto goes retrograde. But really, I think for a while that'll be the only retrograde planet. We'll have everything going soon. I think in maybe a week, Venus will go direct, or in less than a week, and then everything will be full steam ahead again. And then, of course, Saturn will go into Aries, Venus, Mercury. Eventually, all that stuff in Pisces will clear out, and hopefully, you cleaned all the old crap out of your house, like I need to do, and get on with life. Clean out
Yeah.
all the old stuff and go for it and go ahead.
Okay, I've got a question for you.
Yes.
What do you think would be a supportive thing for folks to know? The friends of heavy Aries placements. Like, how can the friends of these individuals show up for them in a really positive, beautiful way? What do you think?
That's a great question.
I know it's a
How do
little
you
tricky
figure it out?
because we don't have those placements, but I know that we both have friends who have heavy Aries placements.
I guess listen to them. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, these people need an outlet for their energy. So
Yeah.
maybe talking to them and getting them to express themselves, in some kind of energy release for them. And really it's tricky, but now that Neptune and Saturn are moving into Aries, the people with these Aries placements are going to have to deal with those two very different types of energy.
Yeah.
The very kind of ethereal and mystic Neptune energies, which are very unpredictable, and then the Saturn, which is like bringing you back to reality and very grounded, like realistic and having to take responsibility energies are going to be together. So that's what's happening now too, and it's kind of confusing
Totally.
for people,
Yeah.
So I think that's what the Aries people are going to be dealing with here soon. And like us late Pisces type people have been dealing with it. And it's all shifting over to Aries, and all these planets are going direct, and everything's happening really fast. And, like we've been saying in our last several podcasts, like by July, everything's going to be changed. Everything is changing. And by July, once Jupiter moves into Cancer, once Uranus moves into Gemini, once Saturn moves into Aries, everything is going to be, all these big, heavy outer planets, everything's going to shift over into the next sign. So I think, and maybe we're talking, I don't know personally for people how that is going to manifest, but definitely on a world sort of stage, I think there's going to be a lot of changes. And I think we can blame it on those big, heavy planets. And of course, Pluto's already switched signs. And there's going to be some retrogrades, and they're going to go back. And Neptune and Saturn will go back into Pisces. So, and I'm sure Uranus will go back into Taurus, and I think Jupiter's good for Cancer. It's going to roll right through now, but which I'm like cheering for that, being a Cancer person. But yeah, things are going to be different by July. So that's my prediction.
Yeah.
And I'm just parroting a lot of the internet astrology people that I listen
Sure.
to.
Sure. We're all following the stars. We're all looking at it.
But it's a big
I like-
year. A lot of things are changing this year. It's a little
Oh.
different than in the past. It's a lot for a lot of people. I mean, you can see it in the way people are acting and the way what people are saying. Things
It's
are
a
kind
very
of
big year. It's a very
nutty.
big year.
Yeah.
It's a big year in a way that I want to note that I feel like a lot, you've probably heard it before. This is the year that changes everything. Well, never like this year. Because with the Pluto switch alone, we are seeing systems crumble, and it is so evident. And on Turtle Island alone, right, in America alone, and then globally, it's something that we haven't experienced before. All the shit with AI, everything. When Pluto moved into Aquarius, shit got
Yeah.
real, and you know what? We needed it. It was time for revolution. It was time for change, and it is only just beginning. So yeah. Anyways, back to Aries though.
Well, none of us have experienced Pluto and Aquarius before. No one who's
No.
alive. None of us have
Yeah.
experienced Neptune and Aries before. I mean, Neptune's going to be in Aries for the next 14 years, and nobody alive has seen that. I mean, this, like this, when the moon moves into Libra and we got moon opposite Neptune, that'll be the first moon opposite Neptune that any of us have ever seen. Just
Yeah.
even a minor aspect like that will be new for everybody on this planet. And even Uranus, hardly anyone's seen Uranus in these signs. I mean, people who are like in their 80s or 90s maybe have seen this switch, but it's
Yeah.
it's a lot of new stuff for everybody.
Truly.
Yeah,
Truly,
so
truly.
it's and the world's changing so fast, that it's like it's not a surprise that the way things are accelerated by technology and evolution, but all these planetary changes are just kicking it off pretty hard. And
Totally.
yeah, the whole AI thing is starting to affect us locally now. We have this new power plant they're trying to put in right between our two towns that's
I noticed
exclusively
that. I heard about that.
to power a data center, which is exclusively to let AI gather all our information. I mean, AI came into our chat here when we first started recording and was trying to join us in our podcast. So
when we pushed it
of course
back
it's
out.
being recorded by AI, and they want to
Yeah.
record our every move and put it in these data
Yeah.
centers. They're not going to
Totally.
benefit any of us people. It's all going to be to benefit the powers that be that are trying to observe everything we do and monitor all our movements. And that's, like you say, Pluto and Aquarius. That's, that for me, it's a struggle between individualization and collective, enslavement. I mean, that's my personal kind of thing, where it's like, oh, wouldn't it be great if we all had a one world government and everything was ruled by a computer? No, I don't think so.
Well, and Aquarius itself to me is always felt like it was well, like the champion of the rebels, because Aquarians, even though they're the water bearer, they're carrying water, so it's confusing to people. They think it's a water sign, but no, it's they're there to communicate life. They're there to communicate spirit. They're there to bring you life and spirit, which is often a revolutionary thought, And so it's kind of like a herd of cats. It's going to be people coming together who typically don't leave their homes. It's going to be an army of hermits. It's going to be the misfits showing up and showing out. And I'm down with that. But back to Aries love. Um, I think my 2 cents on how to show up for Aries people.
Yeah, I want to hear your thoughts on that.
I would say, much like you saying, listen to them. I think that Aries people have so much compounded in them. They're almost like people dynamite sticks. I know that sounds terrible, but like it's compacted energy. There's so much in there, and I've seen it. I love me some Aries people, and I've seen them literally almost look like they're going to burst out of their skin if they don't get to express the thing or do the thing. And so yeah, I agree, holding space for your Aries friends, and that might look like learning how to really, if you don't already have a good understanding of your own nervous system regulation, learning how to regulate your system so that you can hold space for your dear Aries friends while maybe they blow off a lot of steam or have a whole lot to say and express, and you're just like, you're that compassionate witness. Because I feel like that's one of the most beautiful things friends can do for each other, is to just to be with someone while they are trying to birth that expression. I think that actually would be really important to Aries people. That, and like build them a bunch of campfires.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I like that.
Yeah,
I mean, Aries is a fire sign, so that's
totally.
pretty apropos. And you and I, we do appreciate the fire signs. We have some fire, and we don't have a lot of air going on.
No.
But
I mean,
but we do both have a good third house. So you got
yeah,
your
we do.
nodes down there.
Mhm. Well, do you have any other thoughts on Aries traits, Aries season, or astrological musings in general?
Well, we're kind of in the middle of Aries season right now. I think in a week or so we're going to go into Taurus. So there's not a whole lot left. We had a pretty good gap there between our Pisces and our Aries broadcast. I think enjoy it while you can. I mean, really, if the sun would ever come out here, we might be able to enjoy it a little more. It's pretty miserable here for me. I haven't seen the sun since like Wednesday.
Yeah, for real.
And today
I
is
feel that
Monday.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. I think everyone's feeling that,
wet,
actually.
which I should mind
Yeah.
being a water sign, but when 40 degrees, it's not.
Right.
Everyone who's here, I hope where you are, the sun is shining. It's a lot nicer, but it's probably going to snow tomorrow.
You know what? I sat up the other night here in town locally around a really beautiful campfire. And it was just what my soul needed. Because I think that we are close to warmth, but it still feels pretty far. We've come through a long winter, and a lot has changed. A lot about the world feels very, very uncertain. And so simple gatherings around a light with your friends is something I would highly recommend. We sat around that fire till 5 a.m. So Thomas proper.
Wow. That's a great prescription.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay. I feel complete. How about you?
I think we're doing really well. I think we're fighting this Mercury retrograde, but I think we're about to win. I'm just like, I'm just looking at our podcast, just freezing.
I know, I know, I know. It's freezing. It's freezing every other second. We'll see if there's even a podcast to share. So
I think
that
there is. Hopefully the audio made it almost all the way through. So I think we're good on that. And heck, some of our podcasts were all just audio. So I think we're way ahead of the curve. And I think we're getting better and better, you know, so I really appreciate the inspiration that you brought to this whole operation and like waking me up out of my slumber to get me light a fire.
Hey.
To get me on this podcast. So thank you very much. That's gotta say that. And I really appreciate you doing this. It's really good.
Thank you, Macky. I appreciate you too. It's an honor. It's an honor. So yeah. I have been watching you respectfully for a while now, and it's interesting too. And this is probably the Cancer side of you is you're not really flashy about all that you know when it comes to the stars, but I see it and I admire it. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. That's great. So we're going to wait another 8 minutes to see if an ARIES calls in.
It's just going to keep glitching. Let's call it a night. I think we did really good.
Okay. Yes. Cool. Cheers.
Cheers. All right.
Clink.
Good night, bitches. Everyone stay warm. Build yourself a fire. Hug your friends. Tell them you love them. Make it weird.
Nice.
Bye.
Awesome. Good job. Yay.
Jesus, Macky.
That was good.